Happy 4th of July, stampers and paper crafters. This is Facebook Live number 335. My name is Joy Borwedge, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. I live in Burnsville, Minnesota, and I have been a demonstrator since August of 1999. Oh, that's next month. I get to celebrate that. Cool. I'm going to put you down to the table in just a moment, and if you get motion sickness or anything like that, just look away, and I will let you know when I am done messing around with the camera. All right, so hold on. So tonight we have two more cards to show you from the event that I did. I should say that I participated in this past Saturday. So just going to turn this around. There we go. I'm getting better at that twist. Trying not to hit any buttons to turn it off while I do that. Okay, so we're just going to squish in just a little bit. And maybe move it. I think. Maybe move it out just a little. Oh, oops, wrong way. Wrong way, just a little bit. There we go. No? Yeah, go. Maybe. Okay. There we go. I think I am done messing around with the camera. All right, so you can look now. So again, happy 4th of July, everyone. Hopefully the rain is not deterring you from doing anything fun. So again, my name is Joy Borwedge. My Instagram page is Stampin' for Joy. My online store is stampinforjoy.stampinup.net. penguinz33@outlook.com is my email address. So if you do not have a demonstrator that you're working with, you can certainly request one of these catalogs, and I will, hi Nancy, welcome, and I will mail one out to you. Also, the host code is NQ3UVNXR. You can certainly use that host code when you have an order that is under $150. If you do not have if your order is over $150, don't use that host code, because you will get free Stampin' rewards, and that means Stampin' products that you get to choose out. So that's really cool. All right, so the reason why we're doing this tonight is because I try to do my Facebook Lives on Sundays after 5 o'clock and Thursdays after 5 o'clock. But I've been working a lot of late hours lately, so Thursday has sometimes been not very good for me. However, today is Thursday and I have off. So I'm going to show you the two cards that we did at the event. The last Facebook Live, I demonstrated these two cards on Facebook Live number 334. And so this is one. And so if you would like to see how that was done, watch my Facebook Live. The other card was this really cool fun fold. It's kind of hard to show a camera, but this is a fun fold, so it sits on the table like that. And this would be a really cute card if you were doing something with like name placement too. You could have kind of like a name over here, and then your, or you could put the name down here and then have your design. So you could do this like for a wedding favor or a baby shower or a birthday party or like Thanksgiving or something. But anyways, watch Facebook Live number 334 if you would like to see how this was put together, as well as the birdhouse. All right, then the other two cards that we're going to be working with tonight are the other two cards that I had for the event. Now this one, what we do is we put everything in a baggie. And so this was labeled number 7. So that means that everything at table number 7 had everything that you needed to put this card together. So let's get that out. Now the first thing, we are using the You Are Beautiful stamp set. And it's a standalone, which means it does not have a die and it does not have a punch to cut it out. And let me show you where it is in the catalog. And it is on page 93. And this card right here was my inspiration. Now, I was not going to have my people at my table emboss. Now, that's gold embossing. I'm going to actually fold that up and flip that up a little bit closer to you to see that. Now, this is a box, and I designed it as a card. So I just kind of, actually, no, it's not. Yeah, it's a box that looks like it's holding cards. Now I see that. So this could be a gift to somebody. So I was inspired by that to make my card. And we're also using this. And that comes in, it's called the Leaf Collection. It's on page 90. And it's a full size, it covers up the full page. And so that's on page 90. And let me show you where that is in here. And it's full size. So this is what the size is of all these background stamps are available right now in the catalog. And you need F block, or block F, I should say, to help. Now, I'm going to show you how to put this card together. Now, I'm not going to have any dimensions because that is something that I don't do when I'm showing my event cards. So I'm going to take everything out, but I will tell you what the colors are and what we're using. And we just basically have the card sitting out, and everybody looks at it as an example and then kind of figures out how to put it together. However, this was the card that most of the people had the hard problem with, and they didn't understand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show this here is Blackberry Bliss. It is a standard quarter sheet card. This here is the new color Petunia Pop, and that is an in color. And then we have this color here, which is Berry Burst. So these colors really go well together. And we're also going to use some markers that come into play. And I hate to say this, but you know what? I don't mind fussy cutting. But in this particular card, we needed to do that. So I am going to also show you how to take care of something that this is called distinctive. And I don't know if you could see this through the camera, but if you were to look at this, it's a bunch of little fine pinned dots. And what it does is it helps you give shading automatically to your card. Now, Stampin' Up! Has that as a patented idea. Now, I'm going to show you, using my Stampin' Pearson mat, what that means. And I'm going to show you, this is the Blackberry Bliss, and I am going to stamp my image, just squish, 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 okay? Tap, tap, tap on here. Now, if you squish too hard, you're going to fill those dots in, okay? So you have some of that shading in there automatically, okay? So now I'm going to show you a trick, and I'm actually going to stamp this off a couple times just to make sure that the trick shows you what it's really supposed to do, okay? So if you have kind of like a juicy pad, take a spoon, and I like the idea of a spoon. It's because it's rounded and it's not going to hurt your ink pad in any way, but a lot of the ink pads come pretty juicy. Now, after the event, my ink pad is probably not really juicy, so showing you anyways how to do this and what the difference is. So we're just going to stamp that up, or ink that up, I should say, and we're going to put that on this basic white piece. Now we're going to have to fussy cut, but you could see that there are the fine pinned dots there. And so you have quite the variety of, now I stamped off on that piece right there. So I'm going to flip that over, stamp it up, or ink it up again. And we're going to try to make sure that we have all our putts. We're going to have to cut it. We're going to have to fussy cut it. So it won't take that long. But see how beautiful that is? That's the reason why when you ink up, you want to just tap, tap, tap. You don't, especially with these foam pads. Now, if you have the other pads that Stampin' Up! Has, now there's some ink on there because I brushed the spoon over it. So I'm actually going to grab a tissue and wipe that off. Just because I'm dealing with white, I don't want to have my fingers all blackberry bliss and everything. Okay, so we've inked that up. We might as well do the other way of inking something up. So we're going to clean that off in just a few minutes. So I'm going to take this other part of the, excuse me, I'm getting over this eventually. The sinus infection is on week 5 now. So we have the marker, and this is Berry Burst, and we have the brush tip, and we have the nib tip. Now these are the water-based inks. So these are not the blends. Now the blends, I'm just going to grab one out of my collection here, is square. So you could definitely tell this is an alcoholic-based blend, and this is a water-based blend. So it's just like our ink pads. So I'm actually going to use my markers, and this one here, like I said, is blue Berry Burst, and this one is Granny Apple Green. And so what we're going to use is the brush part, and we are just going to lightly lay our brush on the side, and we're going to just color up those berries. What I should have done is the lighter color first. I'm usually pretty quick to do that. And again, we're just going to start and get the leaf and just lay it down so that you're not going to ruin your tips. Do not use your water, or sorry, this is the water-based. You do not want to use the Stampin' Blends. Now we're just going to huff on it. So we're going to go re-wet it with our warm breath, and we're going to put that down on the sheet of paper, cardstock, and there is our image. Now you could certainly have done this with your ink pad, and I'm just going to grab one, and you could go like this and try not to get the berries, but I find that using the markers with such small detail is an easier way to go. So now we're going to cut these out. All right, so it's going to be pretty quick here. Now you want to take your sharp scissors. Now these are really sharp scissors. I love our paper snips. And when you see me cutting, you're actually going to just see me move the paper around and keep my scissors in the same place. And then we're just going to move the paper. But everybody loved this card. They had a little hard time with it just because some people never knew what, they've never used Versamark before. And so I introduced several stampers to Versamark, and these guys have been around. Only 2 people at our group were new to this event, and so a lot of these people had not used Versamark for this particular way that I was showing them, and so they were using the Blackberry Bliss ink, or sorry, the Blackberry Bliss. I really tend to be drawn to rich colors, and we can go down a little bit further on that one. And I also like the bright colors, and then I love the neutrals, and then the subtles. I tend to use the subtles a lot too. I guess it's depending on my what particular card that I'm doing. I love all our colors, I guess. So I guess that's what I'm saying. I mean, like the in color blend or the in colors that just came out, you know, they're really cheery. And somebody called them sherbet colors, things that you would eat sherbet in. Now, the colors that were introduced last year were more neutral colors, and I love every one of them just because it shows off the other colors that you're using them with. They're showcasing, and it just makes colors pop. So Stampin' Up! Does a really great job with coordinating their in colors to match the collection for that particular year. Now, I'm also going to give away 2 cards that I'm designing tonight. So that's one of the reasons why I kind of want to do a good job. But one of the ways to get you into the drawing, and it's easy, you don't have to buy anything to get into the drawing. All you have to do is like, so do a thumbs up or do a heart. And so if you're enjoying the presentation, do that. And that gets your name into the drawing to be entered to win one of these cards. So I'm going to pick one name, and then if that name when that name gets drawn, I'm taking that name out for number 2. Just because I want 2 different winners and give everybody a chance to get in to win. Now, another way to win, to get entered, is to say hi. So all you have to do is say hi, and it doesn't matter where you live in the United States. If you say hi, or this is my first time watching, or whatever, something, I'm from Tennessee, or watching from Hong Kong. Now, if you win, I'm only going to do it in state. So I have sent some things to Canada, but it's really pricey, just to let you know. But anyways, say hi. Now, the last way to enter is if you enjoy this at all, share this on your timeline. And there might be a paper crafter that's on your timeline that might enjoy this, or there might be somebody out there that does not know what rubber stamping is, or photopolymer stamping, depends on what stamp you're using at the time, and would be interested in seeing what this is. Now, that's a little too thick for me, so I'm just going to kind of wind that down a little bit. But your name gets entered 2 times for sharing. And as I was saying, there might be a paper crafter that hasn't touched their stuff, and you might inspire them. You may not even know they're a paper crafter, and you might be helping them, being inspired by sharing this, to say, hey, touch your stuff and make somebody else's day. Because, I mean, if you're a winner of a card, that makes you feel really good that you won a card. And it's happy mail. How many people like getting happy mail? Everybody does. Because everything you see is bills or coupons or things that you don't really need. And here, sign up to be a credit card owner. Yay, we're going to put you in debt. Woo! But anyways, happy mail. That's the reason why I like doing this. So that didn't take too long to cut that out. I am not the best cutter, but you know what? When it's done, it's going to be a beautiful card. All right, that's better for me. Okay, so those are done. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to put, I'm just throwing my trash away. Okay, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the leaf collection on this. And now you can certainly ink this up and then cut in between all these. There's enough space. Let me show that on the front just so you could see this better. You can ink this up in different colors and then cut them out and basically do the same thing I just did with this, but you could also do it with this. So there's another way to use that stamp. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to use Versamark. Now, Versamark is really known, ooh, certainly got a lot of color on that, didn't we? Versamark is what's known as a watermark, and it's sticky, okay? So what it does is it holds embossing powder really nicely. So that's what we're known for, or the Versamark is known for, is to use it for embossing, heat embossing. So we're not going to do that tonight. We're actually just going to have a watermark put onto this. So we're going to lay the card right, or the cardstock smack dab in the middle. And then what we're going to do is we're going to grab a piece of scrap paper and we're just going to roll over it. Now, if you want, you could certainly put your brayer to work. This is the new brayer that Stampin' Up! Has. It is a really nice brayer. And one of the things I really like about it is that it has feet. So if it has ink on it, you can lay it on your glass mat, and we'll talk about that in just a second, but it won't get any ink sitting down, and you won't waste that ink. So that gives nice pressure. Now, I said something about the glass mat. The glass mat was put into my online store yesterday. So if you do not have one, you as a customer can now order one. And I absolutely did not know that I needed the glass mat. One of the things that I really like about the glass mat is that it keeps everything clean for me. It keeps my space, and I can take the chamois that came with it and clean off anything on here. And it's taken off, it's taken off blender pens, it's taken off Sharpie, it's taken off the glue. So it's a really good cleaner for the glass mat. You also get this. This is the silicone mat that you can certainly put your die cuts pieces in here so that when you're doing multiples of something, you can also use that when you are using watercolor. So it's really nice. And so I'm actually going to soak that up in the stamp, let's see. I have to get it out. Oh, I'm starting to drop stuff. Okay, this is the rubber scrubber, the Stampin' Scrub. And so this is, one side has the, you can see it, it's like raindrops. And so this is going to be wet. And I'm going to put my Stampin' Mist on here. And then this is the dry side. So it's a little fuzzy right now. But this is actually the cheapest washer and dryer you will ever own. But because I used Versamark on this, like I said, it's a sticky ink. I want to make sure it's really cleaned off really nicely. So I'm going to soak that up and let it sit on my rubber scrubber. Now this, it might be still a little tad wet. You could certainly use the heat tool to cut it up, to dry it up, but it's not going to really hinder anything. It's not going to smear. Now we're also going to take that and put our greeting on it in Memento. And I'm going to get, let's see here. I'm going to get my Stampin' Piercing mat out. Now, I don't need it, but because it has the scrap piece of paper on it, that's the only reason why I have it on here. Just because if I make a boo-boo, then I can help me stay straight, and I'm going to actually stamp it on here just to make sure I am straight. There we go. I am pretty good. All right, straight. Let's see, on my cardstock. There we go. Ha! Looks nice. Good. All right, so then we are done with our stamping. Oh, and you know what? I forgot. I want to actually put this on the inside too. So I'm actually going to change up my card a tad bit. We are going to make this, the original card was portrait. We're actually going to make this card landscape. And just to show you that sometimes you can be inspired by something and just change it how it looks on the card, and then you did something. You looked at something, you were inspired by it, and so you changed it up a little bit, and that's your take on it. Now, that's how I do everything. I'm a pretty much, when I get something in my head, I'll jot it down on a piece of paper, and then I'll put it in my pocket. So when I get home, I remember what I was trying to get to, what the thoughts were in my head. And sometimes they stay. Sometimes I change things up a bit from when I start the design process to, did I like it how it looked on paper? Sometimes I change things. So if I'm out and about, I get inspired by colors together. Sometimes I'm at work, and I work at a printing company. So sometimes I like the color of something that gets printed, and I will actually write down on a piece of paper the colors in Stampin' Up! Colors, what I saw, and be inspired by that. So I'm going to put that right there, and I didn't huff on it. That's okay. I wasn't that long away from doing that. So now we're going to put the greeting on the inside, and that will be a memento as well. So the front of the card is make today amazing. And then it says, you are a shining light. Now, somebody is going to win this card. Who would you send it to tell them that they are a shining light? Who could hear that from you? Now, isn't that pretty? That's the inside of the card. Now, notice I did not attach anything, just because if it turned out bad, I could flip it over and redo it. Okay. And then we'll get this out of the way, because it's having all that right there bugs me. It's very messy. Okay, so now we're going to start putting stuff together. All right, so this is going to lay down on the front, and I'm going to grab my Stampin' Seal. Now, one thing I get sidetracked a lot, but one thing about the glass mat is if you have a table that kind of has a little give to it. Oops, I almost did a boo-boo. And it kind of pushes down, so, or if, it's kind of, what's the word? It's not as stable as you want it to. Say you're doing it on a card table. That's something that's not really stable. So if you stamp on a card table, this gives it a really firm surface to do your stamping on. Say you're at the cabin and your table in your RV is a little bit not as stable as you want it to. This would be a perfect time to get out your glass mat. So also, one thing about the glass mat is it comes with its cleaning stuff, and I have a protection of, when you're in the kitchen and you have that press-in seal? Well, that's what I have up here. I don't think you can see that, but there, it also helps with the glare too. So I have the press and seal hold all my stuff that I would like to show my viewers. So that is how I did that. But anyways, that little chamois wipes stuff off nicely. Okay, so seeing as how we are designing, we're just going a little different, like I said. So I am going to put adhesive on the back here. So if you don't, I never knew that there were something called glass mats when Stampin' Up! Came with it. I ordered it, and people were like, well, why do I need it? I never knew what it was, and I started using it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, where has this been? So, yeah, so I was a total believer once I got it. Okay, so we're going to stick this probably about, I'd say right there. We're going to kind of have that. See, I can stamp this on here, and if any of the glue, like right there, there's a little piece of glue. I could clean that off with my chamois. It squeaks. You know it's clean, right? Just like you clean your glasses, mirrors, things like that. But the silicone mat is one of my biggest uses in the Take Your Pick tool, the chamois, the Simply Chamois. Now my chamois is in quarters, just because, like at the table events, or the event that I just got done doing, I had 4 tables. I had 4 cards. So I didn't want to buy 4 full-size chamois, so I basically had it I cut it in 4s so that I could use it better. Okay, so I'm going to use dimensionals, and I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool, another one of the biggest tools for your crafting area would be that. I don't have fingernails, and I should say I do have fingernails, but they're not long, and they kind of suck. I'm going to say that not too loud, just in case you have kids hearing, but I'm going to use my Simply Chamois, my Take Your Pick tool in just a second to take off the backings. Now, I am going to put a piece, actually, I'm going to use a mini glue dot, because I can stab that with my Take Your Pick tool and put that right here where it's supposed to stay in a circle, but I stabbed it too long. That's where my bow is going to go, okay? So I'm going to take my Take Your Pick tool at a slight angle and stab and grab those backings. And then now they don't end up all over your place. They don't end up on the floor. As you see this space right here, this is how I really stamp. I put things back when I get done with them. And even though I'm probably going to use them on the next card, I put them back. And sometimes when I'm using things, I'm like, where did I put that? Well, I put it back, and I intend to use it in just a few seconds from when I'm stamping. So yeah, I do that too. I'm going to take my bow that I pre-made for all my stampers, and I'm going to put that right there. And then now I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to take off the rhinestones. Now these rhinestones are colored by the Stampin' Blends, and I love our embellishments, but I use the rhinestones the most, and the reason why is because I can coordinate them. I have every Stampin' Blend color, so that there is, and if I want something to specifically color coordinate with, then I will get out my Stampin' Blends and I will color the rhinestones. But I made sure this year, with this new Snoot catalog, I am also using newer, I'm trying to go beyond and use other embellishments. Now that is the card for today. Now we're not done. One last thing is that we're going to use the Wink of Stella. And the Wink of Stella is one of my other tools that need to be in your craft room. I use Wink of Stella on almost every single thing I make. I've even given them to some men cards. Now, because this is distinctive, you don't necessarily want to do it on everything, because it's the idea of giving the dots that are put together to show you the definition. Now, you see me wiping this off in the between colors is that we're re-wetting that ink. And so I'm just swishing it off, and then we're going to go back in and just hitting those berries. All right, and so you could probably see a little bit of that shine there. There we go. I just saw it right there. There's that shine. Okay, so what do you think of card number 1? Do you like that? Give me a thumbs up. And by doing that, you could do a heart or a thumbs up. That gets your name actually entered into the drawing to win this card. Now, I'm just going to clean this up just a few seconds. And we're going to grab that Simply Chamois. Excuse me. And we're going to make room for card number 2. Okay, so like I said, I cut my chamois up into 4 different pieces. And the main reason why is because I had a cat, and I say this every time I do a Facebook Live, just because if somebody's new and they've never seen me before, I had a cat named Lewis, and he's been gone for a while. He loved, oops, I missed some spots in there. He loved anything foam. And so I had to protect my sponges, my finger daubers, and I had to protect my, the foam that comes in the die brush. And so, because he took it. And so that's how I know he loved foam. And so I cut my sponges. Oh man, there's still some in there. I cut my sponges in 4s, and that way I had 4 different sponges, and if I lost one, I didn't lose a whole sponge. I just lost a quarter. You know what I mean? And I still had 3 left. So there we go. Now those are good. Okay, so we'll put those off to the side, and then we'll put them away later. Okay, so now we are going to grab this one. You're going to love. This one is a card that has a different, this is a fun fold. Now, I'm not going to show you the fun fold now, but I'm just going to show you the Full of Life Designer Series paper. That's actually where this stamp set came from. And it is on, I'm just going to move this out of the way so we can see better. Okay, so this is the Full of Life suite. It is on page 43 in the catalog. Now, if you don't have this, oh my gosh, it's so much fun to play with. The colors of this designer series paper are amazing. Let's see if I can find. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you my color sample. Now, normally I do a 2x2 swatch, but because the colors vary on each sheet, you would not be able to see all the amazing colors. Like this here, there's more on the other side of that sheet that's different. But I had just taken 1/2 sheet of each. It's a 48 pack of paper, and it's 6x6, and you don't even have to use the other color. You could use the watercolor wash on the back side, and it's just so much fun. Oops, I missed one. So I had to design the cards based upon colors. And so the colors here are quite a bit. Balmy Blueberry Burst, Bushel, blah, blah, blah. Blueberry Bushel, Coastal Cabana, Crushed Curry, Daffodil Delight, Granny Apple Green, Lemon Lime Twist, Melon Mambo, Petunia Pop, Pretty in Pink. I'm just Pumpkin Pie, Real Red, Shaded Spruce, and Shy Shamrock. I was trying not to cough, but we had to, I guess. And so that's part of the suite. And when you order a suite, that means you just put in one number in my online store. You get one of everything here. And you also, during that suite collection, you also save the 10%. So if you were just to buy the bundle, you save 10%. But during the collection, you save that 10% as well. Then there is this beautiful ribbon. You could probably barely see that. Oops. So I have a sample. Now I did not have this in the card that I designed for the event, just because I guess it's not gonna, it wouldn't have bode well with the design that I had done. And then also the iridescent faceted gems. It looks like to me like these were, you probably can't see it, but they're indented. And they are absolutely stunning. It looks like what they did is, you know those cookies that have kind of like a mark on them, like maybe taking the bottom of a glass that has a design on the bottom and you impress that in the cookies. That's what this is like. So beautiful. I should try to use them more, but I guess when I use the ribbon, I use these two, but not in this particular card. So as you can see, there's quite a few different designs. And so, like I said, when you have the Starburst, there is a wide variety of color there. So that is one of my favorite. I mean, when I saw that, I had to get that paper. So let me show you again what the card looks like. Now the paper is using the same colors. I used Granny Apple Green as the base. I used Pumpkin Pie as the base. And then I also used Blueberry Bushel. And so all the different colors kind of depicted what color the base was going to be. So all these made the same card, but just using different designer series paper. And so they turned out really cool. Now, if you were at the event, you also had a chance to purchase more card kits above and beyond of the cards. And I sold the most of this one, just because the colors are so pretty. Okay, so let's get on with it. So we're using Blueberry Bushel, Melon Mambo, and Lemon Lime Twist, along with the Memento. And again, we have to use the Wink of Stella. All my cards had the Wink of Stella in them. Again, that's just the way I roll. Some people, you know, yep, I'm one of those people. I like sparkle because you're sending something to make everybody's day. Again, I am not giving dimensions with this because it is an event that you had to sign up for, but I'm going to show you how to put it together. If you were there, I also helped with putting the card together just because I did not expect somebody to understand how to put this together. But let's see. All right, I think, okay, so we have the larger square one. And so the first thing that I suggested people doing is attaching their designer series paper. I'm going to take a drink before I have another coughing fit. Sorry, too late. I love this Glacier Freeze Zero Gatorade. Let's see here. Okay. Gosh darn it. Sorry about that. I'm going to go and grab a Halls. I shall be right back. I haven't been doing a lot of coughing, so that's the reason why I didn't have one sitting next to my desk. But every once in a while, I'll get a fit. All right, I'm going to take another drink. Okay, so we're just going to kind of put this stuff up here because I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. And okay, so we have this cardstock, or the designer series paper, that we're going to put on here. And now I did all the die cutting, and you could certainly use the back side of this, but because this had the edges around it, I want to be able to see that. Okay, so I'm going to put adhesive up here all the way around. Now this is a really cool fun fold, and when I saw it, I forget the lady's name. I saw her video and I'm like, oh my gosh, I absolutely love that. And so I designed the card for the event based upon that video. And I should have written down the name. But I'm going to decide. I made this bigger than... because I wanted the people to decide what side they wanted more of, or they can have a little bit of each side, and then they can snip it off. Okay, so I'm going to grab my silicone mat. But anyways, when I designed this card, excuse me, I did not know what I was doing to myself when it came to the prep of the card. And same thing with this one, because you have to cut all the little pieces out of cardstock first so that you can fit everything onto the plate and then run it through the die machine. You don't know what you're doing. So I'm like, but everybody loved those cards. Let's see, we're going to do a little bit here. All right, so we're going to take that off, flip it over, and snip it off. Now, it's pretty new, so that if I make a mistake stamping, I could flip this over. But with this card, you actually need to have it down. So I'm going to actually stamp where I think my greeting should go, because I made many of, well, I kind of helped design a lot of these, so I kind of know where everything goes. But we're gonna have Blueberry Bushel ink, and this is gonna be a happy birthday card. So whoever wins this card, I want them to be able to use it. So let's see, happy birthday. We'll get that out, and we'll use Blueberry Bushel. Just tap, tap, tap. You don't need to squish it in there. And we're gonna go all the way, just like that, right above the. I'm just going to put that over there so I don't drop it on anything. And then we're going to close that up. And we're done with Blueberry Bushel. Just because in this card we had a lot of colors going on. But with this design, you need to have this in here when you put your mechanism together. And like I said, this is a fun fold. I didn't show you how it was going to fold out. Or I just showed I just showed you the front of the card, but I didn't show you how it was going to maneuver on the inside. Okay, so we're going to put that down and get a nice border all the way around everything. And then we're going to take our mechanism and we're going to fold all our pieces close. But I'm going to get my bone folder because I'm going to put my silicone mat off to the side. I'm just going to give that a nice burnish crease. And don't forget, if you do not have one, you can go in my online store and grab this glass mat now. It's available. I don't know how long it's going to be available for. So, because the demonstrators that weren't able to purchase it, actually I put my, after it stopped being available, really wanted it, and then the customers wanted it. Okay, so the reason why I'm holding this like this is because I want to know where to put my adhesive. You want to make it so it's equidistant, roughly, of the hole, okay? But you don't want to put adhesive here, and you want to put adhesive on this piece. If you put it on this whole piece, you might put it through the flap so you see the circle, and you don't want to do that. You want to go right up to, and I think I did pretty good on being equal distance. So I'm going to push that down. I'm going to burnish that really nice. And then now I'm going to put adhesive on this piece. So I am just going to put my silicone mat there so I don't get anything of my card all sticky. And then pull that off. And then it's going to go right on the other side of that fold. Just like that. So now that line should be pretty much matched up. And then, gosh darn it, Halls is not working. Okay, so sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so we're going to close that up. And, oh my goodness. I'm going to take another drink. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold this facing that way. And we're going to take the other mechanism and we're going to fold that. Okay, so as you can see it, there's a longer piece. That longer piece stays connected and it gets layered right there. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your adhesive and go all the way to here and to here. So you do not want to go over that crease. And you're going to line up this edge with this edge. Okay, just like that. Okay, so that is how it looks. Okay, so now we're going to put that off to the side for just a moment. And we're going to do some more stamping. Okay, so we're going to take our leaf. And now if I botch this up, then we're going to do it the regular way. Now because this was an event, I can't provide a stamped image, and I was not about to have everybody using my cut and emboss machine. So I actually cut up the leaf. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my silicone mat down, just because it gives me a darker image underneath, and it's going to help me hopefully line me up with my stamp. So it's going to help me see better so I can line it up. So this is black, and hopefully I'm going to push down and that I get that. Oh, am I even in the camera? Okay, and then take that off. falling leaf. Okay, I did okay. Not too bad. I mean, it's not perfect, but you know what? It's really not going to be, somebody's not going to sit there, or somebody's going to not say, hey, that's crooked, or too much white on one side. And if that does bother you, just snip it off. Okay, so now we're going to grab the Stampin' Pearson mat. And the only reason why is because I have a scrap piece of paper on it. And I am going to take this, and I don't know what to call this, but I call it a swish. And we're going to ink that up in Lemon Lime Twist. And we're just going to go tap, tap, tap a couple times. And we're just going to push that down. Now, it doesn't color the whole leaf in, but that's okay. That's what I wanted. And then we'll close that up because we're done with that color. And now we'll do what this is. Okay, so we're going to take the word best and we're going to put that in the Melon Mambo. And we're going to ink that up really nice. And this is photopolymer, so I want to make sure that I have a good inked up image. And we're not going to put it directly in the center. We're going to allow that ink to transfer to the back side. And that will give you a nice image because we have the Stampin' Pearson mat there. And we let that ink sit there and transfer to the cardstock. We're going to close that ink pad up. And we're going to grab the wishes. So it's going to say best wishes. And because this is a birthday card. Now, whoever wins this card, like I said, I want to be able to give it to somebody so that they can actually use it. And we're just going to cover up just the bottom part. And I love it when Stampin' Up! Gives us different fonts in the same stamp set. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to put dimensionals on. We're going to use mini dimensionals. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool. And I'm going to actually take that off, and we're going to put that on the back of our leaf, and put that on our leaf here. All right, and then we're going to stab and grab and take those off. Okay, and then we're going to put that at the top here. We want it to stay within the circle, otherwise it's not going to work really well with the mechanism. Okay, so we'll get rid of those, and then now we're going to attach it. All right, so that's going to go in the center there. Just like that. All right, and then we are going to attach this to the card. We're only going to put adhesive right here on our little tiny mechanism. And we're going to lay that down right in our circle. Then we're going to take the putty part and we're going to put our rhinestones on. This happens to be pumpkin pie. There we go. And then now we're going to open up the card. And now this is not necessarily to hold the card because it stays just like this, okay? It holds, but we're going to put that right there. So then that way, you know how they say the colors, you know, things in threes, right? The odd numbers. Well, when the card is closed, you see 1, 2, and 3. When the card is open, you see 1, 2, and 3. And so then, now what we're going to do is we're going to get out that Wink of Stella, and we're going to color our leaf. Now I'm going to do the side first that has the green in it, or the parts that have the green in it. And then we're going to swish that off. And then we'll do the rest of the leaf that is without color. We just didn't want it to smear. Okay? So then now the card will sit like that. So what do you think of card number 2? Okay? So we have card number 1 that we did today and card number 2. So the way that you can win this card, one of these cards, is to, number 1, do a thumbs up or a heart. That will get your name entered into the drawing to win one of these cards. Leave a comment. All you have to do is say hi, or that's a cool technique, or something. Hey, this is my first time watching you. That could be, you know, you could say that. That gets your name entered as well. Now, you could share this on your timeline, get my name out there, help spread the cheer, and somebody might be inspired to see this video. Maybe they haven't touched their art supplies in a long time. Well, maybe sharing this on your timeline will make somebody else enjoy that. All right. Well, I have visitors here, so thank you very much for hanging out with me on a Thursday evening. And I will say goodnight. I'll be back on Sunday